This is the issue, is that this side of our faces is significantly less.
I look great.
You do. I look like it's over now. Oh, no one will ever know the sorry tale of Edward Hyde. Am I a good man? Am I a man? There's such a fine line between a good man and do you really think that I could ever let you go?
Well, thank you for having me, Lucas, on your YouTube channel. I'm honored to be a guest on your reactions videos, which I'm a big fan of.
Thanks for that lead-in, which I probably should have done myself. Hi everyone, today I'm joined by my incredible friend, wife, partner, musical guru, Irina Meachem, mother of my child. Thank you so much for joining me today on Reactions Videos with Lucas.
Well, I love you, and I love opera, and I love art songs, I love classical music, I love singers, I love pianists, I love orchestras. I wasn't born loving opera or classical music. Nobody's born loving a certain genre of music. You had a moment in your life where some light bulb went off and you were moved and touched by some music, some performance. For me, I remember so vividly in my mind when I first heard opera and fell in love with it. Did you have that feeling?
I never had one specific moment that I thought, I'm gonna do this forever. I have had some jaw-dropping experiences of I could never, ever, ever dream of attempting to do what I just heard that person do. And I probably still feel that way.
I think we all do. Yeah. We can't come close, we just try.
That's a good point. I'm still trying. What helped you bridge the gap between your love for classical music and your love for opera? I
went with my dad to the movies. Do you remember the movie A Midsummer's Night Dream?
Oh yes, I do.
I remember hearing opera in that movie. My dad took me to a CD store, Borders. Do you remember Borders?
Yeah, Borders.
And they would have the headphones.
The listening stations.
listen to what's new.
Yeah.
I wanted the soundtrack to Midsummer's Night Dream. On that CD were 3 arias, and 2 of them changed my life. So the first one on this CD was Renee Fleming singing Casta Diva. Renee Fleming.
Voice of maybe multiple generations.
Yes. The role of Norma isn't what she's known for, like as often as some other roles.
Like Rusalka or Countess.
Thais, she did extraordinarily well. Tatiana,
Countess.
Yeah, Countess.
Yeah. What about this recording of Renee's moved you so much?
Hearing the human voice transform into this other thing. The way she would go in and out, I didn't know if she was still singing. Like she would be so soft, it was just like a whisper, and then she would come back full voice.
So if we're not listening to that, what are we going to listen to and why?
We're going to listen to another performance.
Speaking of Casta Diva, let's listen to...
We're not going to listen to that, but we're going to listen to Marietta's lead from Die Tote Stadt.
Oh, I'm so excited about it.
I chose this one because it moved me the most. I listened to this video I watched and listened to this video so many times when I was an undergrad, when I was feeling down about my studies, my practicing, and I needed that moment of inspiration and think, why am I trying so hard? And I would come to this video and listen to it and think, this is why she's making a moment over and over and over again.
She's already making a moment just with her face here. I'm just
so
melting
emotional.
into the couch.
Like what I feel from looking at her is a relaxation. That's the thing.
Yeah.
She started out so relaxed. When this is a high stress performance, you know, this is
A high stress aria. It's not easy.
Aria, sold out house, and she's just there like taking her deep breaths.
She was meant for this.
She's meant for this, yeah. And then she starts to sing, and that high note to me it just sounds like crystal. I don't know how she does it. I don't want to get into the technique of what she does, but to me, what I feel is just like this little crystal light.
Yeah, it's like she throws up a diamond into the sky, and the light just hits it and spins out into the hall.
Oh, I feel so much listening to this. When I was younger, I didn't even know what the aria was about. I didn't know the translation. I didn't even know it was from an opera. It was just so moving. She has, to me, stunning legato, right? This like beautiful vibrato that goes on and on. At that moment, she has this purr. I think of it as a purr. She kind of goes, oh, like that.
Kitten has claws.
She's like a kitten, yeah. And it's just so cuddly and nice.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's stylistically accurate, but what she does convinces me because I think she's convinced of herself. It's some meta thing that she does where like she's feeling it so much.
When you're perfectly content with your voice and your technique and things fall into place for you, that you're allowed to then just enjoy your own performance in a way. And I feel that from her right now. Arias aren't done often that have spoken dialogue.
I love how she does that because she has her point of focus. She has her drishti.
Yeah, no, it never falls. It never goes there. It's always
looking
this way or this way. And then just, it's like this bobblehead on top of it, and it's just on top of her neck. Her head's just always there and relaxed.
Here comes
So that's exactly how you need to get to a high note. It's like giving emphasis to the note before the high note. So she didn't do the and then do it, and then reattacked. There was two things there that helped her get to that high note. Right. Well, let me explain it. So the first one was she crescendoed, which puts you onto more of the core of your sound. And then when you reattack, you sort of go whoa to push you up. But she doesn't push it. She doesn't beat it though.
Because when she attacks the high note, it's pianissimo.
I know, but because it takes that much support to sing a pianissimo up there. So she adds the support before she gets there, rather than supporting on the top note itself. She supports just before it as well.
I love the...
Aufverstehen. So beautiful.
I loved her portamento going down. It's like my heart was falling when I heard it.
Yeah, but what you don't think of with her is notes.
Notes. Yeah.
You don't think about the notes at all. You're just like drawn into everything she's doing. I'm not thinking what a beautiful note. I'm just thinking what a beautiful moment she's created.
I'm just like in a state of total drunkenness.
I need a massage, a meditation, and some ice cream. Soft serve, just like.
I feel like I just got a massage, but a massage on my soul.
Yeah. Oh.
Now for my next one. Okay, so on that same CD, was another aria, Non più mesta by Cecilia Bartoli.
Oh.
And Cecilia changed my life. I'm sure she changed many singers, musicians' lives, or just audience members.
How'd she change your life?
Well, she's such a moving performer, and she's such an acrobatic performer, such a virtuoso.
For sure, yeah.
With her voice.
Like Simone Biles.
Simone Biles.
Yep, exactly. She's doing those flips and turns.
She does with her coloratura.
With her
it's crazy what she can do.
It is nuts.
She's mostly... she came out with the Vivaldi album, and that one I listened to so much. But when I was a bit older, listening to her album of French art songs with Myung Won Chung at the piano, that convinced me I needed to play art songs. The way he was at the piano and the way she colored her voice, she had this limitless possibility of interpretation.
And what did you like about his playing?
Sensitive colors. Beauty, elegant. Again, Cecilia does bel canto, she does baroque, she does lots of different styles of singing, and she's so good at all. But for me, her art song interpretations are pivotal. All right, so...
Non più mesta.
No, we're not doing non più mesta.
Oh, we're not?
No, we're doing
well, you
an
sure
art
did build
song.
it up to seem like we're doing non più mesta.
Well, that was the one that convinced me that we should do.
Hold on, I just want to make sure.
I'm not going to look.
Okay. Well, you might, you're going to see it no matter what. Here.
Okay.
No, I know how to spell.
Oh, it's okay. I'll spell the rest. Cecilia. This is Canto Negro. Okay, so I love how she embraces so many colors of her voice, and she's not afraid to embrace the ugly, not ugly, but like the more harsh. Well, it's
I know what you mean.
Not all beautiful and like this frail like voice of beauty, because she can do so much. So she went for some like more gnarly, snarly,
snarly, harsh tones.
Yeah, just to create different colors and to say different things.
It's not. It's
like Renee Fleming was the opposite. She's just all beauty. I'm sure she could
in that particular piece.
That one.
They're both such
the performances
consummate artists. They could do either the whole run of the gamut.
Yeah.
I just love how like she keeps that dentalized like her sounds is like rambambe. And you know what this was? This was the vocal equivalent of beatboxing. Like,
well, let me translate beatboxing into classical music.
Yes.
She uses her diction as a rhythmic tool to express. The consonants she was using like that was all rhythmically placed. Her rhythm is so impeccable. I think as a pianist, as an instrumentalist, I admire that so much.
As a percussionist.
Yeah, technically. So I love that she does that. And again, they're just so in sync.
Yeah.
It's such a catchy song too.
It's great. I've never heard this piece.
Yeah.
Never ever.
So cool. It's a minute. It's a minute long, this song.
Is it? Mm-hmm. It is a minute long.
So much in 1 minute.
Wow, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, I was literally thinking, it'd probably take a few weeks to learn a minute of music.
I also love she's not constantly singing. She is interpreting text, and sometimes that's more of a parlando feel to her voice, and that's why you get these different types of colors from her, especially when she's doing art song in a smaller theater with a pianist where she doesn't have to constantly project, which I'm sure she does more of when she's singing opera.
I'm gonna have that tempo in my head.
I feel invigorated listening to that, and that's what I want to do with my music when I perform, is I want to give life and meaning to the moment.
So there's basically more than the words, notes, and rhythms on the page that comes from here. And that's where true artistry comes from. So like step one is all of the notes,
The
rhythms,
score, the black and white.
even knowing the dynamics that they're asking for. Because you don't have to always do exactly what they ask for if it's in your heart to say something a little different, especially if it's never been done before. So it's like, that's where the artistry comes into play. And you hear it so much with both of them.
Yeah. There's room for interpretation, and they take interpreting to this other level.
Absolutely. They're like level 11. Their interpretation meter goes up to 11. Well, dear, I fell in love with opera through recordings as well. I grew up in a very, let's say, non-classical music having area. There wasn't much where I grew up in, and basically all we had was the radio and some tapes. And so I grew up listening to really like pop, rock, that sort of stuff. And I could imitate all that on the radio. And then all of a sudden for Christmas one year, my mom gives me a 3 Tenors tape. And I start listening to it. And I'm like, first of all, it's one of those presents, if I'm being honest, it's one of those gifts that you get at Christmas where you're like, oh, thanks, Mom, in the stocking. Little did I know it would change my life. And then finally I got around to it, after I'd, played my Boyz II Men tape about 3 times straight. I was like, all right, let me give this a shot. I had to pull the plastic wrapper off and everything and open it up, that new tape smell. And I put it in, and boy, I was blown away because I could imitate anyone on the radio, anyone. And here were these guys doing something I could never dream of doing. And I was like, yeah, I could imitate. And I thought, oh my God, I could never do what they could do. And it was like the hook was set in me to attempt to take my vocal prowess as far as I could possibly take it. And for me, what they could do was the height of vocal ability. And I thought, let me see if I can get close. All right, what are we listening to? It's one that's pretty obvious. It's got 75 million views. Talk about setting the mood. This piece does all of that.
Talk about like changing a generation.
Talk about changing a generation of classical musicians. Yeah, who might or might not sing opera. Like he needs the music. So already, not like Renee, he's in his score in the beginning. I know it's a big stadium concert and everything, but he's not like Renee sets it from the beginning, and he's like you. But you see when he looks up, he's in it, ready to go. All right,
let's back it up.
So when I was like maybe 19, 20 years old, I went down to visit at Appalachian State University in the mountains of North Carolina. I went down to visit my dad in Miami, and he was getting rid of his stereo system and replacing it with a newer one. And he gave me his old stereo system, and I threw it in my grandfather's Cadillac and drove it back up to North Carolina, and I set it up, and I listened to this song on repeat for weeks. Just this song and Journey, Don't Stop Believing. But it was one or the other, and my neighbors hated me, my roommates hated me. I would just play this over and over again because it's just, it stops time. Yeah. Time stops.
He had the ability to access such a wide audience with his voice, with his persona, that he changed the music
with his eyes,
world.
with his gaze,
eyes. But
even.
The tone of his voice, you know that's him every second.
Oh yeah.
There's no voice like him, and I'm thinking, why am I so emotional? Like, what about his singing makes me like shake?
Yeah.
You know? It's like his soul is pouring out of his body.
Yeah. How about his aval, huh?
Yeah. I love when he chooses.
It's just like, that's what
he's just like shoving his heart out to you with his voice. Oh, there's like no explanation for it. Because he does his own thing. He's not by the book.
No.
Right?
He's not.
He like chooses when to be bright, chooses when to cover, but he does it as an expressive device. He uses his voice to express. And it works.
It works. Right there. Look at that. Look at it. Now watch. Wait for it. Stand up. Hold on. Watch it. They're getting out. They gotta get out. They gotta get out. Oh my God.
There's nothing to say.
What a goat. He's the goat.
He's the goat. There's nothing to say. There's everything to feel.
Yeah. If it's not like just done from the heart, it's not correct.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks again for joining us. It's been great. I've had my wife, Irina Meachem, here with me. And what do you want to do now?
Let's go practice.
Let's go practice for this recital we have going on. All right. Leave us alone. We got to go practice.